a good thing his name's not San, because his is Jose.
All right, everybody, welcome to the 2022 Famous Idaho Potato Bowl press conference. We're joined with Eastern Michigan, and from there, head coach Chris Creighton, Taylor Powell, and Jose Ramirez. We'll open with a statement from Coach and then go open up for questions.
Good morning. Thanks for showing up today. We sure are excited about being here. We have been, and we continue to be. The game obviously is 24 hours away or so, and that's obviously the cherry on top. But really appreciate the hospitality from the bowl and from Boise. Very few of our guys have been to this part of the country and have been doing an awesome job hosting us and allowing for our guys to experience Boise, Idaho. So really appreciate that. We've had a really good year. You know, we've been trying to break through 7-win seasons for a number of years now, and it was the first time that we were able to beat both of our in-state rivals in the same year, beating Western Michigan, who you all got to play earlier in the year, and then in the last and final game of the season, we hosted Central Michigan, and we have a Michigan MAC trophy, and we're able to hoist that and celebrate our seniors in our final home game at the factory and hoist a trophy, and then to be invited here to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl to play San Jose State. Hadn't put together sort of in the moment, you know, that our the only bowl win in our entire 132-year history was back in 1987, and it was against San Jose State. I lived for 8 years in San Jose, so just some, you know, weird, cool things. But we're really excited about being here and can't wait for tomorrow.
If you need to ask a question, please just raise your hand and we'll get the microphone to you.
Coach, Jason Schatcher from the Associated Press. Can you talk a little about what you feel like are going to be the keys to the game? I mean, you got facing a dual threat quarterback and some of the things that San Jose State's been able to do. What are you guys looking to do tomorrow in order to have success?
It 100% starts with taking care of the ball and taking the ball away. I don't know a coach in America that doesn't believe in that, but how many of us are able to execute that successfully? Well, the answer is San Jose State. They're the tops in the country, you know, after 11 games of taking care of the ball and taking it away. We lost or tied the turnover takeaway ratio in our first 7 games, and we talk about it, we breathe it all the time, but we're unsuccessful for 7 straight weeks. We've taken care of the ball and taken it away the last 5 games, so we've been able to turn that. San Jose State has been consistently good at that all the way through, and I think when it's all said and done tomorrow, that will be the statistic that we all look at. So secondarily to that would be, you mentioned their offense, fantastic quarterback, and in any time that a guy can hurt you with his arm and his legs, it's a problem. And then obviously you've got to protect him to be able to throw the ball to the wideouts, which are as good as we've seen all year. They're really, really good, you know, at what they do. And so we're going to have to do as good of a job as we possibly can to limit explosives, keep those guys in front, and make them have long fields. We're going to have to take the ball away, play great red zone defense. Offensively, you know, we're facing the Defensive Player of the Year. You know, in the Mountain West, you got to hear from 92 this morning at the FCA breakfast, and, you know, I'm sitting there listening to him, and I'm like, I thought it was a stud as a player, and now I'm listening to him as a person, and he's just a phenomenal guy. You can just tell that he's a leader in the program, and then what, a 3-time, you know, all-conference linebacker. So just really good on defense. You know, we've been good this year when we've been able to run the ball and keep people off balance. And so in addition to taking care of the ball, we're going to need to get our running game going, and not exclusively. You're going to have to keep people honest because we can throw it as well. So I think it's a great matchup. I mean, they're really, really good, and we're going to have to play at a high level.
Alex Alvarado, Ypsilanti11.com. Hey, good seeing you guys. I'm sure you guys have been reminded every day since Selection Sunday about the 1987 team. Have you guys talked to anybody that played on that team, and how special is this game, knowing that everybody that's was on that team is going to be paying so much attention to this game specifically?
Well, I've been at Eastern Michigan. This is the end of my 9th season, and we talk about and hear about the 1987 team all the time, thankfully. To me, they're the closest group. Whenever people come back, whenever we have an event, there's guys from the 87 team. They're wearing their rings. They just had a phenomenal experience. And they set the bar. They've done things that nobody else has ever been able to do in 132 years. They're great people. They had a special experience. And so I think somebody did a story on the fact that we have a freshman free safety whose dad was a freshman on the 1987 team. So there's just, again, a lot of cool, weird things that have happened, comparing the two different years. But yeah, they're the standard that we've been trying to climb to meet, and we will have failed again this year as they won the MAC championship. But we talk about those guys and celebrate those guys all the time.
And for Taylor and Jose, I know, Taylor, you've only been here for 1 year. Jose, you've been here for 4. You bounced back from the JUCO system, though. How special is this final game for you guys? And, how do you want to go out and finish your senior years? And how do you want to be remembered as EMU players after, you finish this?
I'll go. When I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go for my last year, I narrowed it down to pretty much the 3 schools. And the one that spoke to me was Eastern Michigan, because I wanted to go to a place where I could make history, and leave the program better, and I found it. In the off season, we were doing our winter workouts. We were talking about our themes, stack them, and basically just focusing on the process every day. And now we've stacked the winter on the spring on summer, summer on fall camp on the season. So now we're here at the very end, of the road, and we're just super excited to do something that hasn't been done in a while. Especially with this senior class, this is the tightest team I think that I've ever been on, and a bunch of these guys will be at my wedding. So I'm just super thankful for all of them. And yeah, Jose, you got anything?
Just go off what Taylor said about the off season. Just our theme being stack 'em, and this final game for us just mean we can stack on what we did from this whole season, the years that we've been here. Just starting over. Yeah, we had a good season, but just starting over, taking one approach every day, and just avoiding the noise. I know it's a lot of noise going on off season talk and stuff, and just being ready for tomorrow. So just finishing out with a bang and being different, because we did everything in the season, but this is what matters at the end of the day.
Jose, can you talk a little about facing a dual threat quarterback like Chev, and what he's gonna, kind of the problems that he presents you, with your defense? What kind of things are you gonna have to do in order to shut him down?
I think things we gotta do is just everything that we was taught in practice, just the coaching and the game plan that we get, just attacking like we did this week, just attack practice like we was going against him. But I feel like we seen other quarterbacks this whole year that was dual threat, just central, just a couple weeks ago. So I feel like we'll be ready, and defense will be ready to help the whole team win.
Who do you feel like he's closest to that you guys have already played?
Closer? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Kent State had a dual threat quarterback, so I feel like that was a good test for us. And just watching that film and relaying it back to this quarterback we're going against, I feel like it'll be a good matchup, and we just got to win and finish at the end of the day.
Coach, this is your 5th bowl trip. What have you picked up from the first 4 that maybe will help you and your players come away with the win?
It's a good question. I think philosophically you sit around and as a staff and think about your approach and, what you should do differently, what you shouldn't do differently, right? And there's 2 ways of looking at it. One is you believe in what you're doing and you just keep pounding the rock, knowing that what you're doing is right, and that's eventually, the wall's gonna fall, or do you just blow everything up and just take a radically different approach? Even this season, we've made some adjustments to how we've attacked, even starting back in camp, and how we've attacked the season, that I think probably to the outside eye would not look all that relevant. But within our program, we've made some adjustments on, really relied on science, more, and looking at how much, these guys' bodies should take and can take throughout a week, and studying that and talking about it incessantly. And so really, now that we're here in bowl week, the change isn't as much from what we've done, other bowls, but more so following what's been successful for us, throughout this season. So I don't think it's gonna look any differently from the outside. We still went up to the mountain the other day, and I'm glad that we did, right? And we went axe throwing, and I'm glad that we did. We travel well when wherever we're going, however long we're going, where sort of, at least in the back of our mind when we're doing those different kinds of events, is when everybody knows why we're here. And we're here, to play the football game and to play at a really high level, on Tuesday, December 20th at 1:33 in the afternoon. So this trip has had a really good feel to it because we've practiced well, but we've also enjoyed being here. And, I feel really good about our preparation.
Win, lose, or draw, what is the most memorable thing from this class of 22, this whole team, that you're going to take in your memory until the day you're done coaching and you're sitting around, you start to reminisce about your teams? What do you remember about this group?
Two things come to mind just off the bat. It was back in January when we started our winter workouts, and it was these guys. It was what we call our torchbearer leadership group, basically our last year guys and then some 2-year guys. We'd meet weekly, and we were just talking about how winter workouts were going and how well they were going. And they were talking about how we had to keep stacking the winter workouts. And that was sort of the term, is to stack them. And so that really became our theme for the whole year. I've been doing this as a head coach in college for 26 years. And the years that we've lived our theme, it's been a special year. And our guys have been living our theme. So that part I will not ever forget about these guys. And then I think also that they are just the strength of our culture, and the culture is our program. On October 29th, we were playing Toledo at the end of October, for the lead in the MAC West, which hadn't been done probably since 1987. That late in the year to be leading the way with a few games left. And we lost a heartbreaker by 3 points. Jose and I had about an hour and a half long conversation 2 or 3 days later. I mean, it was a hard thing, to go through, and then we still had a bunch of season left. But they, again, like the teams that have come before them, are unbreakable. As much as we put into winning a MAC championship this year, being our best, going after that, believing it was going to happen, and sort of football terms, suffering, a very painful loss, the resolve, the resiliency of these guys, the love that they have for each other, just always overcomes. And it blows me away. I absolutely love coaching these guys. They have so much depth of character. And so, we won, our last 3 games, and, and now we're, poised and ready to give it all we have tomorrow.
Taylor, can you talk a little bit about, I don't know if you've seen the weather forecast for tomorrow, but Coach was talking about the emphasis on, holding on the ball and, not making a lot of turnovers on offense. Is there anything you guys have done or, played in any weather like this, or any tips that you guys have talked about that's going to maybe help if you get into a game tomorrow with a lot of snow?
Yeah, I mean, we're from Michigan, so I mean, we play in pretty crappy weather every day, and this weather's actually beautiful. Super excited, and we played at Kent State. And it was colder than this, and it was snowing a little bit. So, and we did just fine on offense. So I don't think it'll be an issue.
Coach, one thing that I feel like is part of like your personal thing when it comes to coaching, even before you came to Eastern, was taking players places where they haven't been before and having them experience great new things that they have never experienced before. And that can certainly happen, this week with this bowl game and all that. But as a whole for you, why is that so important to you? Why is it so important to have these guys experience things that they haven't done before and lift trophies that they've never lifted before?
It's going to take longer than a press conference to answer that one. But, I got into coaching 31 years ago, probably because I couldn't do anything else. But, it wasn't, there was one game on a week on TV, and it certainly wasn't, people weren't getting into it to make money. I found out really quickly after I first started coaching that, outside of loving God and being a husband and father, that this is what I was put on the earth to do. And I truly do want to make it one of the most incredible experiences, of our guys' lives. I think that the foundation of that is relationships. So no matter what new experience people have, if you don't trust the guy on your left and you don't like the guy on your right, it doesn't become relevant. But when you get people from all different backgrounds, ages, different parts of the world together that are really good people that can be in real relationship with each other just around the passion that we have for football, I think that it can be an absolutely incredible experience. And so part of it is new experiences. We just had an official visit, and one of our visitors was the first time on a plane. It fires me up. It's just never been on a plane before. And so like I said, so many of our guys on our team, coaches, hadn't been to Idaho before. So when the tubing thing was not working or whatever, we still took an entire bus up just to be up in the mountains and to see them and be in the snow, and our guys had an awesome time. So I want my life to count. We talk about being impact men. These guys are way more than football players. Now, don't get me wrong, they're really, really, really talented, and can end up playing this game for a long time, could make a living from it and all of those things. That's awesome. But when it ends, they're always more than football players. So we talk to them about being an impact man, because our world needs that. Our communities need that. Our families need that. And so as coaches, we better be living and practicing what we preach. And so, I don't want my tombstone just to have a win-loss record on it. I want to be in relationship with these guys and with the coaches and have an impact on the men that they're becoming. And that might sound corny to people and whatnot, but I believe that. And as much as our world is trying to change that and make it a business deal, I believe in those things. And love these guys, love our team, and I think you can have both. They don't just have to be chess or checkers pieces, and then it's not just a Sunday school class either. You know what I mean? I think you can care about people and invest in their life and have relationships and hold people accountable and be demanding, and at the same time be really, really, really good on the football field. And not claiming, that I'm good at that, but I darn sure going to try to do both of those things at a high level.
Hello. Mark Aziz from KSJS. Coach, you run a 4-2-5 defensive scheme. Would you describe that as a hybrid between a nickel and a dime defense, or how else would you describe it?
Well, we've been a 4-2-5. We were 4-2-5 ever since Coach Nethery got here in 2016. This year, in the back half of the season, I don't know if you would call us a 4-2-5. We have made some major adjustments that San Jose State, I'm sure, has watched every game, and so they're going to be prepared for much more than than a 4-2-5. We've been in an odd front. We played some bear. We've been in both open coverage and closed coverage and have mixed those things up. So prior to 10 weeks ago, I could explain to you exactly or answer your question, but now we are definitely different than the 4-2-5 we started out.
Yeah, that's quite evident since you started the year off as somewhere far in the hundreds in ranked
Yeah.
defense, and you ended the year in the 55th ranked defense in the country, I believe. So you definitely made some improvements.
It's credit to our defensive staff led by Coach Nethery, but our whole defensive staff, I think they really challenged themselves after game 4 to think through what kind of adjustments we could make, because we'd been running the 4-2-5 for several years and at a really high level. But when you do something, you get really good at it, but other people also have a chance to study it and to figure it out. And so, mid-season to make adjustments that have been very effective week in and week out, I couldn't be prouder of our defensive staff. And of course, it's the players that end up having to learn it and do it. So it's something when the season's all over, we'll really reflect back on what a job they've done.
I have one more question for Jose Ramirez. You have 12 sacks on the year, so it seems that you're pretty good at sacking the quarterback. What goes through your mind when you sack the quarterback?
I just help my team. So what go through my mind, I feel like rushing the passer, I feel like if I don't get there, I'm doing a bad job because them guys got to cover a little bit longer or I'm not helping my team out. So it's just a grateful feeling that I could play this game that God put me on this earth for. So, yeah.
Jose, Coach said that you guys had a long conversation after the game against Toledo. Talk a little about what went on there and and what's changed since then, or how you guys decided to finish out the year the way that you have.
Well, I can't really talk too much because that was a man-to-man thing that I appreciate Coach Creighton for. Because like he said, he's trying to make us impactful man. He's an impactful man in my life. But basically, it just goes back to what we was talking about in January about stacking them, and then on the way to, and it's hard to stack them after a tough loss, but that's what we had to go back to. And then, I know it was dreadful for a little bit of days for people on our team, but that just shows the type of team we are. It's not like years before or anything else. Like, it's not just we just lose and it is what it is. I feel like we had to start over, and that's what we did. And then we had to empty out the tank for the rest of the season, and we're not done yet, and we got one more, and we gonna go get this win and do our best for Coach Reed too. So yeah.
And what do you feel like was the biggest change that you guys made on defense? After the first 4 games, what was it that scheme wise or whatever that you guys did that kind of turned things around for your defense?
I feel like that just go back what Coach Crane said, just trusting in the coaching and trusting in the process. Like, we know our coach is going to put us in our best position to win, so just trusting the coaching, trust everything that goes on. Just like going back to your question about dual threat quarterback, they can have the best. They can have a lot of good players on the field, but we trust our coaches to put us in the best position.
Kevin Richardson, Spartan Radio Network. Coach Creighton, reading a lot about a 51-pound pipe wrench that's part of your culture with the program. Can you talk a little bit about that? And did the pipe wrench make the trip here?
It did make the trip. Yep, it's here. Yeah, again, I don't want to put everybody to sleep, but when I first got to Michigan, I had never lived in the great state of Michigan before, and it took a couple months to really figure out the people, the area, the school. And to make a long story a little bit shorter, there's a toughness, there's a blue-collar work ethic, there's character, there's values, in Southeast Michigan. And so, yeah, we went and visited a tool company, and the president gave us a 51-pound pipe wrench. And it really has 3 different meanings. One of them you'll have to go see the movie Good Will Hunting to figure that one out. But our theme that first year was to close the gap. And as you know, with a pipe wrench, there's two vices that as you screw it, they close. And so just always, every one of us is right here as a coach, as a player, as a man, as a woman, as a husband, as a father, whatever it is. And there's another line wherever we're at that goes above that line, right? And that's our potential. And we want to be people who wake up in the morning wanting to close the gap from wherever we are to wherever we can be. And so the pipe wrench, it's a wrench. I mean, it's blue collar, it's hard work, right? So it definitely possesses that. It's close the gap. And then, Good Will Hunting is, we watch part of that movie together every year. So yeah, it went up to the Bogus Basin with us, and we had a snowman try to carry it too. So, it ends up being a pretty big deal. Whoever leads us out onto the field carrying the wrench each week.
And then talking about parts of the country, did I hear you right? You were 8 years in San Jose. I got to win.
What's that? When?
Win, yeah.
So I was born in San Francisco in 1969, and then at 4, my family moved to San Jose in Almaden Valley, and was there till I was 12, and then we moved up to Seattle. Yep. So loved it.
Louis Geist from KSJS. All right, Coach, another San Francisco native. We love it. But this question is for the players. I was really fortunate to ask the last group out here this question. In football, my third favorite play is the batted pass. So Taylor, Jose, can you talk about what it feels like right after that play when a pass is batted down, either your pass or your hands knocking it down, please?
I got a funny story about that. So I was fortunate enough to get invited to the Manning Passing Academy and spend some quality time with Peyton and Eli. And somehow this topic got brought up, and Peyton was telling us how he thinks it should be illegal. It should be like, hey, redo the play. So that's my take on it. We're not playing volleyball, we're playing football. So that's what I think.
I mean, my take on it is, as a DN, as a D lineman, I feel like gives you that little swagger, make you feel like a DB. You could just, after you bat it down, just look at the quarterback and give him a little swipe or give him a little seat belt. So that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Any additional questions?
Given that this may be the final question, and we are in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, I also asked this to the Spartans as well. What is your favorite way to prepare a potato?
Go ahead.
For me, it'd be, a little olive oil, chop them up a little bit, a little olive oil, a little salt and pepper, throw them in the oven. Have a nice little potato, your steak. That's what I would do.
I think, I don't know, probably the same. Probably, I like mashed potatoes though, so probably cut it up, boil it up, take it out, mash it up, put some butter in there, salt and pepper in there. Yeah, eat it with a little chicken or steak, whatever.
There you go.
My wife does an awesome job with mashed potatoes. She puts something in there that makes it really, really good. But I'll tell you, our first meal here, I had a loaded baked potato, I promise you that. And it tasted really, really good.
Any last questions? All right, thank you to Eastern Michigan, and best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.